Hey everybody, come on in. We're going to start the show here in about a minute. It's Conspiracy Theories and Chill. I made you a little video. We're going to watch that. Then we're going to hang out and talk about conspiracies, anything you want to talk about. Come on in, share the show. We'll start here in a little bit. All right. Thanks for coming. See, we got a few people here. Jeff's here. Hi, Jeff. Hey, Roseanne. Thanks for coming. I made a little video for you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you for sharing. I hope you'll share and smash those like buttons. I like knowing you're here. I like knowing you're digging what's going on. It helps me realize, know what's good and what's not, and what you're enjoying and what you're not enjoying. And I want this to be a good show for you guys. I want you to want to come back. I like making these videos for you guys. So this video I made is on RFID chips. And I was actually inspired, and I tagged him in this video. I was inspired by John Konecki, who was a viewer of mine that hangs out on these videos sometimes. He shared a post from Revelations, and I had been kicking around an idea for an RFID chip video in my head for my YouTube channel. And that post from Revelations triggered something in my head and made me want to make this video. So I'm going to show you the video real quick, and afterwards we'll talk about it and anything else you want. I've got some stuff written down to get into, but we can talk about anything you'd like. But for now, here's the video I made. Hold on just a second. I realized I turned off my speaker. But I made this little quick video. It's only 4 minutes long, 4 minutes and 5 seconds. But we'll watch that. We'll watch that, and hold on a second while I fix that. I gotta stop that. All right, now we'll get back to it. Make the screen big for you guys. We're gonna watch this video real quick, and then we'll hang out and talk. And he had power to give life under the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he called small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Now, I don't care how cool the Dr. Oz show wants to make it look, but I fear that people will care. These chips are in our future, and at some point a decision will need to be made. Will you follow the trend and the masses and rush out to get your cool new RFID chip, or will you resist the implants? And what would that resistance look like? They plan to put everything on these chips. As you heard in the clip, it will hold all of your medical records and history, and it will replace cards and cash as payment. Instead, you'll just scan your wrist. No man can buy or sell without the mark. So what will you do? How will you resist it? Not only will it be necessary, but society will embrace it. So in addition to being off the grid, we'll be outcast as well. I think it's way past time for us to start planning for this coming threat. We cannot allow the elite total control over our lives in such a way. For every convenience it may offer, there are far outweighing dangers. For example, what happens when they shut off your chip? How do you survive cut off from everything you have, including your identity? What can we do to stop it? And what do we do when it happens? I know what I'm going to do. Do you? Let me know in the comments what you think about RFID chips, and thanks for watching Conspiracy Theories and Chill. We'll see you next time right here. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and click the bell to get notified when we post new videos. All right, that was our video. There's Joe Rogan talking to Alex Jones. I mean, not Alex Jones, Elon Musk, about AI. That's a creepy interview. I don't know if you saw that. You should look it up. Joe Rogan and wait a minute, sorry, Elon Musk on Joe Rogan talking about AI. It's creepy. Elon Musk is terrified of it. How's everybody doing? My head was naked. Why didn't you tell me? I knew I felt the breeze. You know, it's so hard to straighten this when you're looking at it in a camera because everything is the other way around. What does Jeff say, or Paul? Recycle, reduce, reuse? Oh, the video clip? I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, since you're here, though, I debated on whether or not to come from politics and stuff when I did this feed. And I'm going to tell you why. I've been crashing and I've been experimenting. And when I come from my own page, I don't crash. I think they're shutting down your page. If you don't know, Paul has a really cool politics page, politics and stuff, and I'm a contributor over there. Well, I try to be, but I don't think it was Mr. Crowley. I've noticed that when I play Mr. Crowley on my page, by going back and looking at other feeds, there's no troubles. But when I'm on your page, there's troubles. And maybe it's because you're a page. I don't know if that's what it is. That might be what it is. Maybe they're just noticing you more. You're showing more up on their radar than I am. You know, they don't really care what I'm doing over on my little Facebook page, but they're worried about yours. Somebody is. Which is good, I guess. Oh, go off grid. Don't be dependent on the chip. Absolutely. I know how I'm going to live. We're going to hide on my Babel's farm, probably. My Babel's family's farm. Babel's will hunt and kill me food. She'll take care of me. I found a good, strong woman that'll be able to cook, clean, and kill my food for me while I take care of her nest and the kids. Because she is braver than me. As far as killing an animal goes, I couldn't do that, but Babel's could. But you don't have to do that to eat and survive. You can find ways to survive without doing that. Paul says we're too real for them. Yeah. But I don't want to let that stop me. It's just, I don't think it's fair to people when I do these feeds, because this is like an hour-long show. I don't think it's fair to people to do the show and have to do it 3 or 4 times to do one feed. So I was like, do I come from politics and stuff? Do I come from my own page? I don't know what to do anymore, because I really like coming from politics and stuff because it gives me a much wider reach, you know, than my own page. Because I only have my 5,000 Facebook friends, and probably 95% of them have unfollowed me. I wish you knew who had unfollowed you so you could unfollow them back or unfriend them. I know that half my list doesn't pay any attention to what I'm saying. More than half. You know, and I'd rather have 2,000 or 1,000 friends that I actually pay attention to and that interact with than have 5,000 friends and 4,000 of them I don't know and never see their name pop up. Paul said, woman strong, her hunt. Yeah, she's tougher than me. I'm an indoor girl. I'm sorry. I don't believe in gender roles. And we don't, as a couple, we don't conform to them. I'm the artistic thinker, writer type, and she is my warrior princess. And that's just the way it is. And I'm fine with that. I am comfortable in my masculinity to know that, like, when people drive by and she's fixing the car, you know, when we broke down somewhere and she's the one inside the hood and people drive by, I'm very aware that they're staring at me, and I'm very comfortable with my masculinity. I don't feel like I'm standing there
and I'm a woman just because I'm holding their purse while she fixes the spark plugs. You know, I don't know anything about cars. And Babels does. That's what I'll do, Paul. I'll just share to the page. And then I was thinking maybe I'll upload my videos from the page. My videos that I make for YouTube, like the one I showed tonight, and just upload that from the page. Because I like doing that because I want them to be viewed. And the thing I don't like about YouTube, and I'm trying not to get frustrated with YouTube, but the thing I don't like about YouTube is it takes a long time to build a following, a long time to build up a channel. I've had my channel going for probably 1.5 to 2 years, and I'm up to 147 subscribers. And that's really plugging away at it. That's really trying and looking up tips. And my biggest video is probably 40,000 views. It was on the Titanic and the Titanic swap conspiracy. If you haven't seen it, go over to my channel, YouTube, on my YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff, and check it out. It's called the Titanic swap conspiracy. And it's a real good little document. Actually, I wish I could redo it. I might redo it. If you watch it, you'll know why. I'm not super proud of the editing in it, but it's my most popular video, so I really shouldn't shit on it. But thanks for coming. I see we got about 6 people here. This is a participation show. Comment anything you want to talk about, and we'll get into it. Any conspiracy at all. It doesn't even have to be a conspiracy. We can talk about anything you want. It can be something going on in the news. Like, for instance, voting is on my mind, because hopefully everybody's going to vote on Tuesday. We need everybody to vote. Everybody needs to start voting. We need to start really making it shameful, really vote shaming people that don't vote. So, fuck vote shaming the people that vote. People that vote are participating in it. They're doing what we want them to do. They're participating in democracy. Vote for who you want to vote for. Vote for who earns your vote, more importantly. I don't agree with vote shaming, but I do agree with shaming non-voters. You need to vote, to participate. We need to unite. We need to come forward in large numbers. That's the only way to game their system. Yes, it's rigged against us, but one of the main ways it's rigged against us is to disenfranchise most of the population, to not want to participate, to not even care. And then most of the part of the population that does participate in voting doesn't even inform themselves. They don't really care. They're just voting because they're guilted into it, or because their parents always voted, or whatever. And then only a small percentage actually informs themselves and votes on the issues. Now, of that percentage, only some of us are progressive. Oh, it's fine to be Green Party. I'm participating in democracy is all I'm saying. We need to get out there and vote. If we actually participated, if all the people that can't be bothered, what is it, 40-something% in presidential elections, and like fucking close to 60 in non-presidential elections, like the Senate elections coming up, these midterms, like 60%, 50-something% don't participate in midterms. That's crazy. How can you not be bothered to vote for something so important? And these people sit on their positions for 6 years. Like, I have a position in my state coming up. Claire McCaskill is running for re-election. And Claire McCaskill, I'm sure you know, is filthy. She's a dirty Democrat. She's a corporate Democrat. She's exactly the type of Democrat that we're against in the progressive movement. She may as well be a Republican. So I find myself wanting to vote for her opponent, Josh Hawley, a Republican, because I want Claire to lose. Now, there is another option in my state. There's a Green Party candidate, but I don't know what to do in this particular situation, because I want to help Claire lose. And it's a close race. Missouri is usually a red state, but Claire McCaskill has held that seat for a very long time. Yeah, and Tim Kavanaugh, if you're in Florida, vote for Tim Kavanaugh over Debbie Wasserman Schultz, absolutely. And we need people, if all these people that can't be bothered to vote were convinced to vote, and we came out in mass numbers, change would happen. And even more change would happen if you could get a large percentage of those people to actually give a shit about voting and give a shit about what's going on around them and informing themselves. Even more would get better. The only way to progress in this current system is to inform people and educate people and try to spread the truth and try to help that things grow and progress in that way. Otherwise, what are we doing? You know, I see a lot of progressives that are very active in politics, very political, very involved in activism and aware of things that are going on, sitting there shitting on people for voting. Oh, you're stupid if you're going to vote. Why would you vote when you know the system's rigged? Well, why? Because I got to fight in some way. What are we doing then? If we're not going to participate in the system, what are we doing? You know, are we going to have an armed revolution? Because that's the only way to go, other way to go other than voting, to do anything about what's going on. If we're not going to have a full-out armed revolution, then we need to just shut up and participate in the system as it is. And the way to game the system as it is to come out in mass in large numbers that can't be ignored. You know, they tried ignoring it during the Bernie Sanders campaign, and they did. A lot of people make the argument that they did, and they buried it. But they didn't. We're cracking the surface. We're breaking. There's cracks in the glass. Let's push it, finish it off. You're going to have to come together in large numbers to finish it off. Change never happens without millions of us coming together and demanding it. So please vote. It's the short version of what I'm saying. Just vote. I don't care who you vote for. I hope you vote for a progressive candidate, but at the very least, do me a favor and inform yourself. Just learn what you're voting about and vote smart. But vote for whoever you want for it. Vote for it. Whoever earns your vote, vote for that person. That's the way it should be. And anyone that tells you otherwise is fucking liar. And there's vote shaming is stupid. Because, like, I get vote shamed because I voted for Jill Stein. But if there was no Jill Stein, I would not have voted for Hillary, which, see why the logic is flawed? It's not like Hillary was owed my vote. You know, if there was no Jill Stein, I would have wrote in Bernie Sanders. You know, I still wouldn't have voted for Hillary Clinton. Vote shame people. And then people will say, well, if Hillary had Jill's votes, she would have beat Trump. Well, that's only true if you don't give Trump Gary Johnson's votes. If you give Trump Gary Johnson's votes, Trump still wins. And those people would have voted for Trump if there was no Gary Johnson. So, yeah, Jeff says if you're not voting, you better have a pitchfork. Either that or lay down and submit. Stop whining, stop posting on Facebook, stop acting like you care, because you're going to have to use the existing system to fight back against the corruption. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. It exists, and they are not going to change society just because you want to take your ball and go home. It's the way that it is. And, you know, there's nothing that can be done about that. We got to play their game. And their game requires our numbers to win. Without that, we can't win. It's pretty simple. So please vote. Again, I don't want to get too much on a tangent about voting, but, you know, please vote. And please help someone understand, just one person, how important it is to vote and get them to vote, a non-voter. Take that challenge upon yourself to get one of your friends that doesn't vote to participate. But I spend enough time rambling about voting on a show that is supposed to be about damn conspiracies. This is Conspiracy and Chill. I'm Sean. If you're just joining us, this is a conspiracy theory show. We hang out and talk conspiracies. I played a video for you guys that was on RFID chips. We can talk a little bit about that, or we can talk about anything you want. So go ahead and comment. Hi, Cindy. Go ahead and comment whatever you want to talk about, and because we're going to hang out for about an hour. Well, let's see. I wrote down some stuff. I talked about participating in politics when you know the game is rigged. I just don't see any other option. You show me another path, and I'll be interested in hearing about it. But I don't see any other option. Hi, Steve. Cheers. Jeff says early voting data shows a massive turnout. In Florida, that's good. That's good for Tim Canova. A massive turnout is good for Tim Canova. I hope he wins. I don't agree with him on some things like MMT. I don't even know anything about modern monetary theory. So what that stands for, I don't know much about it. I'm not that good at math, but I really don't believe you can create money out of thin air, which is what I think they believe. So I could be wrong about what it is that they believe. Cindy says, I don't like for people to vote without knowing issues and being familiar with candidates' policies. I don't encourage people to vote. If they make random choices or no knowledge of issues, that wouldn't be anyone watching this stream, but it does describe some of my friends and acquaintances. Yeah, as I said, informing yourself is an important part of the voting process. But I think even if they just voted, it's something. I got to give you at least a point for that you went in and voted. Even if you're one of those vote blue no matter who's, I thank you for participating, but please, can I talk to you for 5 minutes about the Church of Truth Christ of Latter-day Saints? Can I sprinkle a little truth in your ear? You know what I mean? That's what it makes me want to do. And I recommend doing that. And again, all you can do is plant the seed. So if you've got a friend that doesn't inform themselves, plant a seed. Be like, like for instance, for me, on the ballot here on Tuesday is a proposition to make medical marijuana legal in the state of Missouri. And they got 3 different initiatives. So they made it confusing as hell. And the one you want is initiative 2. All right. So for me, I'm going to push for a couple of my friends to vote yes on initiative 2. That's just my personal vendetta. The rest of their ballot, I don't care what to do with it. I figure I can get to that eventually. If you turn a non-voter into a voter, even if you got them to vote on one issue, like, hey man, we need to vote for, like in my instance, vote against Claire McCaskill and vote for issue a proposition or whatever 2, amendment 2, whatever, the one about marijuana 2. Sydney says it's worse than not voting to do it carelessly. I see your logic. I do. And I agree with it. Don't think I'm saying that I'm giving massive points for participating if you just blindly, just going in there and voting straight Dem and, doing the same for judges and, not even knowing what you're voting for on the issues. No way I'm saying that's cool. I'm just saying that at least you're participating. To me, you're better off. You're better than someone that's not. To me, that person is the problem. The ones that are not, cannot be bothered. And then the ones that are disenfranchised, which are part of that group, those are the ones we're probably going to get. The ones that just don't care probably never will care. But the disenfranchised, we need to win them back over and convince them that, look, there is an awakening going on. And if you rejoin us, we can have progress. Cindy says we aren't choosing a homecoming queen. I absolutely agree with you. Again, I think you need to inform yourself when you vote. I'm not saying that uninformed voters are not harmful. They are. But I don't think they're as harmful as non-voters. You see, but again, we're comparing, apples to diced apples, apples to cinnamon apples. They're the same. They're basically the same thing. They're on the same level of being bad almost. One is just a little bit worse than the other. And I feel like not voting is worse than voting stupid. Not that voting stupid isn't terrible. Jeff says, see Stephanie Kelton for a good explanation of MMT on YouTube. I will. Because I've been interested in it and I've wanted to learn about it. And I actually have my opinion based solely on the opinions of certain people that I hold in high regard, their opinion, and then I trust their opinion. So that's how I came to my conclusion on it, is based on what other people that I respect think about it. But I will check out Stephanie and see what she has to say about MMT. Another thing I'm interested in learning about, but I can't find a non-biased source to learn about it from, is QAnon. I want to do a video and then get in depth on QAnon, but it's hard to find anyone that is not a full-fledged believer. I don't want to learn about QAnon from a believer. You know, I like to look at things from an unbiased perspective and then come to my own conclusion. And that's how I want to do it. So I don't want to come to it by somebody who is already talking like a crazy person, like, oh, Trump is a hero and blah, blah, he's going to save us all. The stuff they say is ridiculous, but I am fascinated into how this phenomenon came to be. So I want to learn about QAnon from an unbiased source. You know, I'm interested in finding out about it just because of this becomes such a phenomenon. And Trump plays up to it, but that doesn't mean anything. Trump plays up to his crowd. He's good at that. He's a performer. So I don't put much stock in the fact that he's addressing the Q people. I just think he thinks they're part of his fan base, and that's all. He's just playing to his fans. I don't think he's really into the Q conspiracy. I just think he knows people are, and he encourages it. Well, if you're here, though, go ahead and comment anything you want to talk about. I don't want to just babble on. It's not my show. It's our show. So let me know what you want to talk about, and we'll get into that. In the meantime, I'll move on to this is kind of related to the RFID video. If you just joined us, we watched a video on RFID chips tonight at the beginning of the show. I think that we are, and it's fairly obvious, I'm not saying anything new, but slaves to technology. And I believe that we are marching towards 1984 being an actual reality, not just a fiction novel. I think we're already like 90% of the way there. He just didn't nail how much we would actually embrace it. You know, the other people in the book 1984, if you haven't read the book, go ahead and read it. I recommend it. It's not that long. But the people in the book, they've all embraced the system. This one particular person just happens to be, the story happens to be told from the perspective of one person that's breaking out of the mindset. Everyone else embraces it, but not as much as we do. You know, he could have never foreseen things like an Alexa. You know, you just have a device in your house that listens to you all the time, just in case you ever want to ask it a question. We'll put up with all kinds of shit for any kind of conveniences. It's amazing what we'll put up with for convenience. And, you know, like these cell phones, these smartphones. I have one. Everyone carries one around in their pocket. It's part of the culture now. You got a computer, it's awesome. I understand why we have it in our pocket. I use mine all the time. It's a great resource. But I'm a slave to it. I'm always carrying it, and it's a tracking device. It's a listening device. It's constantly listening to you. It's recording things. Its camera activates itself on its own. They can look at what you're looking at. It's freaky. Edward Snowden gave up his life as an American to let us all know that, and nobody seemed to care. Just like Carlin says, nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Well, let's see. We still got about 4 people here. How long have we been going tonight? About 45 minutes. We got lots of time left. Bring up anything you want to talk about, and we'll get into it. I wrote down I recently made a video. The last video I made on the last episode, if you weren't here for that one, was on the Denver International Airport conspiracy. And I will link I will put a link to that video in the comments after the feed. But Cindy says she appreciates Snowden. Everyone owes a great deal to Edward Snowden, just like everyone owes a great deal to Julian Assange. And I think in a lot of ways we're letting them down, or we let them down by putting them at a hero status, but not pushing as hard as we need to. And not us. When I say this, I'm mostly talking about the masses, the asleep masses that don't realize how important of a journalist that Julian Assange is and what he offers society, or how important what Edward Snowden did for us by giving up a high-paying job with the NSA, basically had it made for life, a genius, and giving up his freedom and his life that he's had in America his entire life, and he had to uproot everything and move away in order to tell you all this. That's all. He didn't get anything out of it other than peace of mind. I think they need to be national heroes. You know what I mean? Edward Snowden should not have to be afraid to come into the United States. Julian Assange should not be living in an embassy, unable to go outside and live a normal life just because he shares the truth. In the what 11, 12 years of WikiLeaks existence, they've never had to retract a false story ever. Cindy says too many people don't even know who Snowden is. Isn't that sad? That is, it's terribly sad. They don't even know what he did for them. They probably don't even know what he told them. They don't care. They wouldn't care if they did know it. Oh, my phone can look at me anytime it wants to. Selfie time. I don't think they give a shit. People don't care. It's cool. It holds 5,000 songs. Plus memes. Oh my God, the memes I can hold on this thing. It's amazing. I can look up anything. I can ask Google anything in an instant. Matter of fact, hey Nissa, if I say, hey Google right now, it'd probably come on and search for something. And if I talk about something I really want, like I'm going to do an experiment. I do this all the time. But I'm going to talk about t-shirts for a minute. I really need some new t-shirts. I am running low on good t-shirts, and I could use some high quality t-shirts. Now, I guarantee you, when I'm scrolling through Facebook later today, I'm going to run across ads for t-shirts. They're going to be all over the place. And I could have picked anything I wanted, and they would come up too. Try it yourself. Try it yourself. Talk about something in front of your phone. And then within a couple hours and scrolling around, you're going to notice you're seeing a lot of certain types of ads directed at what you were talking about. It's a fun game to play. It's also a scary game. All right. Let's see. Rob says Stephen Paddock. Man, I'm trying to look. You know what? I'm kind of intimidated to comment on the Vegas shooting, and I always have been ever since it happened, because I'm not 100% sure how I even feel about it. I know that I don't feel like Stephen Paddock acted alone. I feel like he's a patsy, probably MK Ultra, and I feel like it's obvious that he's a patsy. But I don't think there's any way he did that by himself. And I just think that there were too many reports of multiple shooters. There was too much evidence online that I saw of actual real life video from cabs and bystanders of multiple shooters, of shots coming from multiple points in the building. So, I mean, there's just so much stinks about that story. And then the other reason why I really want to do a video about it is I think it's fascinating that story just went away. And I saw a theory the other day that was saying that maybe it went away because of the people that were killed. It was country music fans, rednecks, right wing. That was who was targeted. But then everybody was freaking out about Caesar Sayak, the MAGA bomber. And they were talking about how much publicity MAGA bomber was getting versus Stephen Paddock, who was the largest mass murderer in American history. And then I had somebody on YouTube shitting on me because they were saying that I was defending the Paddock story. I am not defending the Stephen Paddock official story. That story is bullshit. That's why they had an FBI guy behind the sheriff every time he was fucking talking about it. That story reeks of bullshit. But I want to investigate it more before I make a video on it. But I am looking into it. I am researching it. And once I feel like I'm informed enough to make a good video on the Mandalay Bay shooting and Stephen Paddock, I will. But thanks for bringing that up. The other things that I've wrote down to talk about, Let's see, I got into 1984, slaves to technology. All right. Oh, I was getting ready to mention that the last video I made for my YouTube channel was on the Denver International Airport conspiracy. Check that one out too, over on Me on Things and Stuff on YouTube. Check out my Denver International Airport video. That's a weird airport. I don't know if you know much about that, but there's interesting conspiracies about that airport. And I just made a video about it, and I'll link it in the description later, but go check it out. In the last feed, people were talking about the pyramids. And I thought maybe we could talk about that for a little bit. Let me know what you guys think about the pyramids. Do you think the Egyptians built the pyramids? Do you think aliens built the pyramids? How do you think the pyramids were built? I don't believe, I'll start. I don't believe that the Egyptians built the pyramids. I believe the pyramids have been there longer than the Egyptians. And I believe there's evidence for that, especially in the Sphinx. There's evidence that the Sphinx is thousands, tens of thousands of years older than they've told you it is. And I think that that's also true of the pyramids. I think they're much older than we're told they are. And I believe that they were built, I believe they were built with the help from the fallen, the Nephilim. But, you know, others believe they were built with help from the aliens. But I also believe when people say aliens, they're speaking of the Nephilim. I don't believe there's any such thing as aliens. I believe what we think is aliens is the Nephilim, the fallen. And, you know, that's my personal belief. That's all. And it also happens to be the belief of the elites. They worship the fallen. But it's just me and them. A couple other people, I don't know. Just what I believe. So we got 5 people here. You guys are not very talkative today. Go ahead and anything you want to talk about. Because we can get into anything you want. We can keep going. It's only 7:11. We've only been going an hour. We can go to 7:30 if you want. We can just kick around conspiracies. I'm bored. Babas is at work. I don't have anything to do really tonight, except go to bed. Jeff says, I think our civilization spans millions of years. That's interesting. And I think you're right. I think there's a lot of history we don't know. Just like I believe the pyramids are much older than we're told. And I believe they're hiding a lot of history from us. But combined with that, I believe there's history they don't know. But the short version is, and I thought you guys might say something more, but I don't think the Egyptians built the pyramids. And I think the pyramids are much older than we're told they are. Well, let's see. Do you guys want to get into anything else? What about 9/11? We could talk about 9/11. I love talking about 9/11. I mean, it's a love-hate relationship. I hate that it's necessary to talk about 9/11 still, and I hate that they're good. 9/11 was an inside job, came up. I hate that it's not more well known. The official story of 9/11 is complete bullshit. You know, and I think it's clear that it's complete bullshit. I think if you just trust your eyes and your common sense, the story of 9/11 does not stand up. Buildings don't fall like that. That ain't the way physics works. That's not the way any of that works. Buildings do not collapse to dust. You know, there was firefighters interviewed that talked about how you found nothing in the rubbles. There was no phones, no computer boards, nothing. It was just dust. Dust and debris. Nothing identifiable. It's buildingized. Both buildings and Building 7. And Building 7 is the biggest smoking gun I've ever seen in a crime. And to this day, it can't be explained, the collapse of Building 7. And people still choose to ignore it. And I think that's so sad. It's sad because of what happened that day, and it's sad because of everything that has happened since, and the millions of people that have died based on a lie, and that the hundreds of millions of people that were tricked into supporting that lie and those deaths on a lie. 9/11 is the story and the conspiracy that woke me up. It's the one that made me start paying attention. So, and I feel it's the easiest one to get into because, like I said, it's crystal clear that the official story of 9/11 is bullshit. That should be crystal clear to everyone. Even your most skeptic should look at that and be like, or your most skeptical skeptic should look at that and be like, nah, something wrong with this. And most of them are. Most of them will still have a problem with Building 7, but let it go. Building 7 shoots everything else in the foot. You know, if you can't explain the collapse of Building 7, you can't explain any of it. You know, it's already enough to try to explain how 1 and 2 fell in exactly the same way, especially when 2 was falling, it was falling off. Go ahead and look it up for yourself. The top was falling off of the building and vaporized in thin air, and then the bottom of the building just went ahead and collapsed also. Nothing was fucking hit again. There was no pancake collapse. Jeff says the assassination of JFK woke me up. You must be older than me. That's a good one too, though. That was early. And maybe I knew about JFK before 9/11, but I didn't really wake up. Nothing clicked in me. Maybe I didn't believe it, but I knew of it. I was aware of it. So I knew that one first. Maybe that planted the seed, but 9/11 shook me awake. But yeah, JFK was assassinated. I think it was assassinated with multiple assassins. I think there were multiple shooters. Oswald may have been one of them, just like Stephen Paddock. The patsy is usually involved. Is they're going to lay everything on him. Everything's going to lay at his doorstep. Jeff's 58. Yeah, you're older than me. I'm only 42. But you got what? You got 16 more years of experience than I do. You know a lot more than I do. Been around the block a couple more times than me. But no, I believe there was multiple assassins. I believe that George Bush Sr. was involved. Ted Cruz's father, wasn't he involved as well? Old Rafael Cruz's daddy. Vote. If you're in Texas, please vote for Beto. I know he's a faux progressive, but I would rather have a faux progressive than Ted Cruz. I just want Ted Cruz to lose, just like I want Claire McCaskill to lose. I don't usually like to vote that way. But they got to go. You know, Claire McCaskill needs to go. Ted Cruz needs to go. There needs to be term limits on how long these people can stay. They shouldn't be able to build empires like that. You shouldn't be able to get rich off politics. Claire McCaskill's worth like, what, $15 million? How'd she do that on a salary of what, $225,000 a year? Is that what a senator makes? I mean, I know how she did it. And that's not counting her husband's worth. And she's helped her husband throughout her government career. But I guess unless somebody's commenting, unless you guys want to talk a little more, I'll wait a second and let's see with the likes and stuff like that. Maybe we're winding down. It's Saturday. You might have stuff to do. You know, I understand. You might have a life. Your babies might not be at work. All right, well, I guess I'm going to wrap up for the night. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. This has been Conspiracy Theories and Chill. If you didn't share, go ahead and share. If you didn't comment and you still want to comment, there's something you wanted to say or something you'd like to see me get into in a later video, go ahead and comment. I watch these and I will respond to your comments. You can comment if you view this later on. feel free to comment. Thanks again for coming. I'll see you guys next time right here on Conspiracy Theories and Chill. Hope you like the show. Look at that, a Josh Hawley ad. That's the Republican that's running against Claire McCaskill in my state.